There is new hope this morning for the families of two murdered Indigenous women whose remains are believed to be in a landfill outside Winnipeg. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs says the federal government will help fund a study looking into a potential search. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged support for those seeking closure and justice.
The federal government will look to do whatever we can to support the province, the city, and whoever needs support in terms of giving closure and justice for these families.
Families of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron, along with Manitoba First Nations leaders, have been calling on Ottawa to step in on the issue. The Winnipeg Police Service has so far refused to conduct a search, saying conditions at the landfall are just too difficult to proceed. We lead off our coverage once more on this story with Hilary Johnstone, who's in Ottawa. What more do we know about this pledge of support coming from the federal government, Hilary?
Well, Heather, we know that this pledge of support really focuses around a feasibility study. So a study of whether or not it will be possible to search that landfill. A local anthropologist is going to be involved in that feasibility study. So we're hearing this information is coming to us partly from Cathy Merrick, who's the Grand Chief of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. And she said that, yes, there has been a commitment from Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Mark Miller that the federal government will provide support. So just to go into a little bit of the backstory here, of course, you can see there on your screen on the far left-hand side, Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron. Police believe that their remains may be in that Prairie Green landfill that is north of the city of Winnipeg. This is after police did find the remains of Rebecca Contois at the Brady landfill that is south of the city. And various Indigenous leaders, the families of these victims, had been calling for that Prairie Green landfill to be searched. But up until this point, what the Winnipeg police have been saying is that they believe too much time has passed, that there will be the presence of animal remains, asbestos, and they do not believe a search is possible. Of course, that has very much upset the families of those victims. So also want to play here a little bit of what we've heard from the Public Safety Minister, Marco Mendicino. He didn't necessarily commit to funding a search, but certainly committed to firm and concrete support. That was what he said yesterday, speaking with David Cochrane on Power and Politics. Here's a little bit more of what he said.
Every time there is a tragedy like this, it re-traumatizes the community. And so to bridge that divide and to rebuild trust, we've got to support. And so the conversations today largely revolved around how we can offer support, whether it's through resources, technology, or feasibility. We'll be there to help.
So support through either resources, technology, or feasibility. So certainly committing to some federal support. Of course, we'll still be waiting for more details on exactly what that's going to mean. But this feasibility study was something that these groups wanted funded, along with the help of the United Nations and support for these families. All of that was detailed in a letter that was released, Heather, earlier this week.
Another development in this story, Hilary, is a meeting we're learning of between Winnipeg Police Service and First Nations leaders. Tell us about that and how it went.
Well, what we're hearing from some of these leaders is that they do feel that it went well, that the Winnipeg Police Chief, Danny Smith, has committed to supporting these families, supporting these groups in their quest to find those two women and to continue to support the families afterwards as well. So that meeting taking place at the Long Plain First Nation chief, two of those victims, the two who were believed to be in that landfill north of the city, were members of that First Nation, along with the Grand Chief of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs and then the police chief as well. So I want to bring you a little bit of the statement from the Winnipeg Police saying that earlier today, Chief Danny Smith met with Grand Chief Cathy Merrick and Chief Kyra Wilson to discuss the situation at the Prairie Green landfill. Chief Smith is supportive of the collaborative efforts of Chief Merrick to recover the remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron. The Winnipeg Police Service will participate on a working committee led by the Grand Chief on the feasibility of a recovery search. We've now heard a little bit more from the Grand Chief. Here's what she said.
I feel really optimistic that we have done this in a very timely manner and that it was the wishes of the family and the family members and leadership in particular as well, that we have to lead and we have to ensure that we get things in place.
So, Heather, of course, a lot of hurt here with these victims, with their families as well. And something else that we heard from the Public Safety Minister yesterday is that any search that will be done needs to be done understanding the historical context, the cultural context of what these victims and their families are going through.
Hillary, thank you very much.